Greetings everyone. So I was initially going to only do a video about Pope Francis, but I'm actually going to do this video on two topics. But the first one will of course be Pope Francis and the current state of Pope Francis. Some of you may have heard that yesterday evening during the Rosary for the Pope, an audio message was played. And for those of you who haven't heard it, here is the message being played during yesterday evening's Rosary. Or for those of you who are watching this later on the 6th of March.
Carissimi confratelli, consorelle, prima di iniziare.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Before beginning tonight's prayer,
Ho chiesto di condividere con tutti voi una bellissima notizia, un bel dono. E questo il Santo Padre ci ha inviato per noi che siamo qui e per tutti.
the Cardinal is announcing that the Holy Father would like to make a brief announcement
Donne e uomini di buona volontà che
to thank all the goodwill offered here by the people
pregano per lui. Un saluto
who are here praying for the health of the Holy Father.
della sua voce adesso.
Agradezco de todo corazón las oraciones que hacen por mi salud desde la plaza. Los acompaño desde acá. Que Dios los bendiga y que la Virgen cuide. Gracias.
I'm going to play that for you again now. Here it is with the actual translation below it, so you can understand what the Pope was saying, because obviously he wasn't saying it in English.
Agradezco de todo corazón las oraciones que hacen por mi salud desde la plaza. Los acompaño desde acá. Que Dios los bendiga y que la Virgen cuide. Gracias.
So that was the message from the Pope, I assume from his hospital bed. And obviously he didn't sound particularly good when saying it, like he was really struggling to talk. Now people have been reading more deeply into this message. Some people think that was essentially a farewell from the Pope. It might be specifically the part where he says, I accompany you from here. It's almost like he's kind of starting something different now. It's like it's a different phase. And they're wondering what he meant by that. Of course, the message wasn't a clear and obvious goodbye, as has been the case throughout much of Pope Francis's papacy. It was kind of vague. I mean, obviously he was thanking people for their prayers, but he didn't say these are his last hours, or he wasn't saying goodbye. He was just saying he thanks people for their prayers, for his health, and he accompanies them from here. That could mean any number of things. It could be that he's saying he's accompanying them from where he is. And that's what he means by he accompanies them from here. From his hospital bed, he is accompanying them even though he cannot be with them physically. So it's hard to tell what Pope Francis meant by that. Of course, I don't know what Pope Francis himself is thinking. I don't know whether he's praying to die. Maybe he's had enough of the suffering and he's just praying to be able to leave this world now. Or whether he's actually praying to be able to survive this serious illness that he's going through right now and to be able to come back and still be the Pope. You know, a lot of people have been very anti-Pope Francis, and there's a difference between the people who will make a video or a statement or write up a piece of writing critiquing him in a constructive manner, so constructive criticism, but then reaffirming that he is of course the Pope, he's the Holy Father, he's the head of the Catholic Church, and that their prayers are with him. And those people who literally just criticize him, say he's an awful Pope, and really just seem to hate him. There's one Catholic YouTuber who I won't name because this isn't about naming and shaming, but he has been very critical of the Pope, going so far as to basically call him an evil and vindictive man. And yet a few days ago he put up a video praying a rosary for him. So I don't know whether something has moved in his heart or whether he still feels the same way and thinks that the Pope is an evil and vindictive man, but feels it's his duty to pray a rosary for him because he's the Holy Father. I don't know. I think all I can say on this topic is that whatever is going to happen, let it happen. God's in charge here. If God wants to take him away now and it's his time, then so be it. If God decides it isn't his time and he stays with us, then so be that as well. It wouldn't be a great shock if Pope Francis died. He is 88 years old. He has been suffering from a lot of things. You know, it wouldn't be a great shock in the same way that it wasn't a great shock when Pope John Paul II died. It was a shock when Pope John Paul I died, of course, because he died very quickly. And he was only in his 60s, so that was unexpected and that was a shock. But with Pope Francis, obviously, let's see. You know, when people pray prayers for him, I often wonder what they're praying for. Like when people are doing the rosary for him, for example. Are they praying for him to survive this? Or are they sort of praying for God to take him into his hands and then whatever happens, happens. Let it kind of be the will of God. If I was taking part in those rosaries, I would probably be praying something along those lines. Something like, Pope Francis is very sick. May you shorten his suffering and either bring him back to health, or if it's his time, then take him away and out of this world and closer to you. It'll be something like that. I mean, I'm not really sure, but it'll be something along those lines. That's the latest so far, at least at the time of me recording this video, that Pope Francis is still with us, that he has released this message. You know, they could be his final words. We don't know. He certainly didn't sound very healthy at all, obviously, when saying them, like he was really struggling to get them out. And, you know, if the news does come that he's passed away, then it will turn out that those were his final words to the people, at least. He may be saying things to the people around him where he is, but those would be his final words to the people. But we shall see. And in other news, something I just discovered literally just before making this video is that the Vatican has officially clarified that the writings of Maria Valtorta are not of supernatural origin. It says that in a press release, the Vatican Dicastery noted that the Holy See frequently receives requests from both clergy and lay people for clarification on the Church's position regarding Valtorta's writing. And the Vatican has reiterated that the alleged visions, revelations, and messages contained in Valtorta's writings or attributed to her are simply literary forms that the author used to narrate the life of Jesus Christ in her own way. To justify its position, the Dicastery clarified that in its long tradition, the Church doesn't accept as normative the apocryphal, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Gospels and other similar texts, since it doesn't recognize them as divinely inspired. Instead, the Church refers back to the sure reading of the inspired Gospels. So obviously the Gospels are a safe bet here. Other writings we're unsure of. Here's an interesting thing about this. As you may well know, not that long ago, the Vatican kind of more or less officially approved Medjugorje. In as much as it can approve it, it gave it a score of 1, saying that it's absolutely fine to go there, that nothing happening there is contrary to church teaching, basically. What's interesting is that a lot of the people who go there receive the writings of Maria Valtorta. Those are sent to them. So if pilgrim groups go there, they actually get offered this by their group leaders. And the chaplain to English-speaking pilgrims over there, Father Leon Pereira, has stated that in one of the apparitions of Mary, she was asked if these writings of Maria Valtorta are true, if it's okay to read them. And Mary supposedly said that they are true and they are okay to read. Those are the words of Father Leon Pereira. So while the Vatican has recently approved Medjugorje, here we have rather a conflict going on, because Medjugorje is suggesting that Maria Valtorta's books are true and real, and these are actually parts of the life of Jesus that she saw, while the Vatican's saying, no, these writings are not of supernatural origin. So this is going to be causing more confusion. I'm interested to see your thoughts on this, because it just looks like mixed messages right now, doesn't it? We've got an approval of Medjugorje, and now we've got something that's very connected to Medjugorje essentially being discarded as untrue. So leave some comments below about what you make of this situation. Thank you very much for watching the video, folks. Have yourselves a blessed day.